So welcome to stage 78. Now last week I did complain that we were doing no more work on the upper arm, and then we just suddenly switched to the finger. It turns out we might have been just collecting a few parts. We've got a bit of a bonus this week because we're going to be doing work on the hand and on the upper arm. It's two for the price of one. Let's see how I got on. Okay, so here we have the parts for issue 78, the components for left hand and arm joint. So let's go through them. So we have plastic part 1, left arm joint cover. Piece 2 is the left shoulder joint. Again, this is plastic as well. Piece 3, this is plastic also. This is the left hand, so this is obviously this part of the hand there. Piece 4 is a finger. Right, they've placed these in plastic bags, so we'll just bear with me while I open up the bags. I'll just get that out of the way. That's the glue from last week. So we have 75/4 is a joint connector, and this is a longer pin, and then we have a joint connector pin. This is the same but shorter, and right, piece 6 is a plastic. The magazine, it doesn't come up, it just looks like a blank. So this is a plastic connector. We then have piece 7, which is a rubber washer for the shoulder joint. And we've seen these loads of times, haven't we? This little pattern on the back with 4 pins on the other side. And then that leaves us with 3 PB 2x6mm screws, one of which is spare. So the screws we have, and I think I've actually missed a part out. I do apologise. I'll get to it in a moment. So that was actually piece 9. And piece 8 is 2 metal washers for the arm joints, and they're just bog standard washers. So we may not actually need those in this issue. So let's have a look at step 1. And so step 1, we need to take the hand, and holding it in the orientation they have in the magazine, it goes this way. And we need to take the finger joint from the previous issue, and this is going to go on underneath like this. And what we're going to do is we need to take our longer pin, just like we did with the fingers. We take our longer pin, we take our plastic sleeve, and that plastic sleeve goes over the top, and then that will go down through this joint here. Oh, that's difficult to get in. Oh, that's really difficult. Now, be careful if you're going to force things in this manner. Make sure you do get them the correct way. Make sure that you're pushing that pin at the same angle that it's meant to go through. And it is really, really stiff to get in. Either it's very stiff to get in, or I'm actually weak. And I'll be honest with you, I'd be quite happy to accept the second option. I'm not a strong person. I have no troubles admitting that. And that really is not going in. I really am struggling here. Oh. I've got it halfway through, but what's happening is it's trying to bunch. See if I can pull the pin out without actually pulling the sleeve out. There we go. No. I think I'm going to have to stand up and push down. Use a bit more body weight. There we go, that's gone through. No, that's not quite gone through yet. Right, I'm so sorry about this. It is difficult to get in, but most of the problems is actually due to my lack of strength rather than being impossible to do. But it's certainly a lot more difficult than the last one. So let's pop this on. Right, so that goes on absolutely fine. But what we need to do is get this pin connector in. We need to get that pin connector in enough so that it actually makes contact with that pin, and I think it will. I am confident that it will. So one thing that I learned from the last couple of weeks is that it's quite often easier if we pop the glue onto this pin rather than applying the glue to the hole. So I'm going to try the same again this week. And I want to make sure I don't get so much glue that it stops the oh, there we go, it's not even gone in, look. Really am struggling today, aren't I? I wonder if it's time to buy some new glue. Four, five. No, that's not gluing in. Right, so I'm going to try applying a bit of glue in the hole as well, and I just hope I haven't got any glue on the actual pin, on the actual finger. It should be okay. No, okay. So I'm going to put that down to the fact that maybe I haven't got the finger joint in enough. So I'm going to just try again with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that pin out a little bit, and I'm going to just try and push that connector down a bit more. In fact, actually, let's try a plan B. We can always go back to the beginning if this doesn't work. I'm actually going to remove this altogether. So now that there's less in there, I can push this connector down a little bit more. Right, so I look like I'm cutting it, but I'm actually using this just enough to grip. There we go. By Jove, I think that has worked. So I had a bit of a struggle there, so what I've done is I've pushed just a connector in, the sleeve, and then I put the connector in on top. Let's see if it really has worked and that I can still get this finger joint in. There we go. So now that's a much better fit. which means that the connector will be a little bit further down, so it might make contact better. I am sure that that's why the pin didn't stick in before. Still not going. So I don't think this is going to fall out anyway. I'm just making sure the pin isn't going to fall out. There we go. So that's gone in fine. So it might well be that I need glue in the hole and on the pin, but whatever happens, we seem to have got that in okay. So that's the first finger on the second hand complete. So that's done, and then we need to go on to step 4, which is taking this piece here, this is piece number 2 and piece set number 7, and we have a same old story, which is that we're going to apply glue to this, and guess what I've done? I have forgotten to test fit. Now, I always go on about test fitting, and this one might just come back to bite me on the bum now. Right, hopefully it'll fit fine. All of these have fitted fine. There we go, that's gone in perfect. So bit of a light relief. Now I want to show you a little trick. You may have noticed that I accidentally superglued this to my finger just there, and I got out of it very easily. Between some woodworking videos that I've been watching and P40F20, I've learnt something about superglue. So as you know, let's find 2 scrap pieces. So as you know, superglue creates a very strong bond, but it actually has like pulling power. So if I apply a little bit of superglue to this and I stick this onto the side there, that's not gluing. Wow. Oh, it's because my hands are sticky. So once that's dry, that's actually, yeah, that's not dry. I think my super glue has gone dead. But once that's dry, I think that's gone dry now. It actually has tremendous power. Let's try this. I might need to do some edits on this, mightn't I? It might also be it's not very good at gluing this surface. Right, so if you were to pull this, yeah, it's not able to dry yet. So if you were to pull this, if you were to stick your, I'm going to regret this, aren't I? Right, so to pull this, you see how that's not coming away, but it has no shear strength, meaning that if you did this, my fingers have come. I've still got super glue on my fingers, and I'm going to do that again just to show you, because this is such a wonderful trick. So you can see how my fingers are glued together. You can see them pulling the skin, but if I do this, so it's actually, if you ever find yourself getting stuck with super glue, what you need to do is pull it sideways. It's a contact glue, but what it doesn't do, it has no sideways strength. So I'm now actually going to have to clean this off my fingers. The other thing to do is, if you get super glue on your fingers and you haven't touched anything, so for example, if I got a big dollop on there, the trick that I always use avoid contact anything with this finger, run to the bathroom, run the cold tap, turn the tap on with this hand, run your hand under the cold tap, and that will solidify the glue, and then you can just pick it off. But that's what happens if you ever have an accident with the glue. On to the next stage, and we need to place this, take the upper arm assembly from issue 76, identify part 73.2, which is this one here, and I think we can already see how that's going in, and this is going to attach on like that, and you can see that there are 4 tiny locating pegs there. Let me try and get a close up. There we are, 4 tiny little pegs, and there are 4 tiny holes there, and that's going to line up in there like so. There we go, and that's on like so. Then step 7, sorry, that is step 7, right, is to add that onto there like so. It doesn't say anything about super glue, and I really don't think we're going to need super glue, because I think these are going to be clamped in with screws on this side. So the next step, we need to take this, so I've already popped it in. So we need to take this from stage 73, we need this from stage 77, and this from 78. From the previous issues and sharpness, you also need the 2 washers 78 8 and the joint cover 78 1. So what we are going to do is fit one of the pegs on the end of shaft 7. Let's pop this to one side. We need to fit one of the pegs, one of the washers onto this shaft here, and now we know why we haven't been fitting this earlier, and that's going to go into there like so, and then we're going to fit the second washer, and that goes over there like so. So what we've ended up with, don't know if you can see in there, we've got one washer in there and one washer on this side, and then this cover is going to go over there. Now I don't know if you can, oops, I've just lost it, which means I have to start again. Not the end of the world. So we have a washer on the end there, that's going to go onto there, and a second washer to go onto there, and what's going to happen, that's going to reduce friction on these parts as they move. Now we can see 2 screw holes there, we can see 2 screw holes there, but we also have a hole there where my index finger is, so we're going to pop that on so that we're covering the screw holes, and just as importantly, this piece engages into that hole, so we've got this moving part. Can you see how the washers are taking the pressure from this moving part? Okay, and that leaves that part there. So now we need the 2 of the screws that we received with this issue, and we're going to pop those into there like so. And I wonder if perhaps I should have just applied 1 screw. And I'm going to use my Aurea just because it's to hand. I have a different screwdriver head on my what's now become my main screwdriver. Plus, I think this particular stream is lacking a little bit of purple today. Would you not agree? So fully engaging, remember these are plastic screws, so we don't want to over tighten them. We only really need it done up enough so that it holds this in, so that's not coming out. So I'm really happy with that. And then I believe step 12, use the 2 PB screws, and that is the stage complete. So with regards to the left side of the Terminator, these are all the parts that we have. So I would guess that's obviously going into there, and at some point this will go into there. I can see that we've got you know, I've lost that little, I forgot. Oh, it's in there, isn't it? Of course it is. I've lost where this went. So remember that this isn't stuck in permanently, and this is going to go into there at some point. Oh, that's a really nice click. And then this will come onto there. We're doing this from memory, this isn't really speculation, but this actually would not be a bad way to store your model while you're waiting for the parts, because surely that's got to be a lot tidier and a lot less dangerous. And then obviously we have this finger, so these can be stored together. And then what we'll be doing is in the next issue, we will be adding a second left finger and upper arm, assemble the second left finger and upper arm. And it really doesn't look like we're doing an awful lot to the upper arm, but we obviously, it says we are, so we will do something. So yeah, I'll see you in the next issue. Take care, guys.